وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثات بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد الحمد لله. We give our praise in Allah and send the peace and blessings upon His messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We began what we mentioned is known as Khutbah, Khutbah, sermon, need. And in these ayat that were mentioned, there's a phrase that is repetitive, happens over and over again, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding us to have fear of Him. And this is not necessarily the fear like you fear someone pointing a gun at you, but it's the fear of falling into sin, not living up to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us. The Sahaba described, Sahaba meaning the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, described this feeling of taqwa, this feeling of fear, as if you were walking through a place and there were bushes, like sticker bushes, or, you know, like rose bushes that have thorns on them. And you were walking through a path that had these bushes all around you. And it was asked, how would you walk through that place? They said you would gather up your garments so as not to get pricked or poked by the thorns. And the Sahaba said that this is taqwa. The same way you gather your garments up so that you won't get stuck or you won't get caught. It's the same way you move throughout this life, protecting and safeguarding yourself from falling into Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sins. The sins that He has declared sins or His prohibitions. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe in Allah as you should be feared. Do not die except as Muslims. Do not die except as Muslims. Fear Allah as you should be feared. Do not die except as Muslims. On the side note, real quick, you know that verse is mansukh. It's abrogated. When the Sahaba heard this verse come down, fear Allah as He should be feared, there's no way we can do that. It's impossible to give Allah His rights the way He deserves. Then Allah revealed other ayats indicating that you should fear Allah as much as you're able. Just wanted to mention that little side. So, fear Allah as He should be feared, do not die except as Muslims. The only way that we can ensure that we die as Muslims is that we have to live like this. Because none of us know when we're going to die. We do know that we're going to die, but we don't know when. So the only way that we can ensure that we die in the state of Islam is that we live in the state of Islam. This has to be a constant thing. This has to be our life. This can't be a hobby. This can't be something that we do when we're feeling good, or we feel like life is closing in on us and we feel like there's no way out, and then we turn back to Islam. This has to be part of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O mankind, fear your Lord, who created you from one person, and then from him created his mate, and from them two scattered many men and women. Fear Allah for whom you demand your mutual rights, and don't cut off the wounds. In other words, do not break your family ties, for indeed Allah is a watcher over you. And in that verse, fear Allah, fear your Lord. Very important. Most times when most of us got married, these verses were recited. These very same verses. Marriage is the coming together of families, not the breaking up of families. O you who believe, fear Allah and speak a straightforward word. In other words, don't be ambiguous. Say what you mean and mean what you say. We're Muslims. We should fear Allah and not fear any human being. Qulu qawlan sadida, a straightforward word. Most of the times people lie to us because they fear what we may think, or they fear what we may do, or they fear something. We fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Speak a straightforward word. Sometimes the truth is bitter, but sometimes it needs to be said. As I'm saying this, I was thinking about someone, and someone was admonished him on social media, someone that he doesn't usually interact with, and then the one who was admonished, he retorted by saying something to the effect that, I find it amazing that you pop up, on my stat when you find something that you disagree with. I don't ever hear you when you see things that you agree with. But it's good that you came this way, because I get the chance to express to you that I don't really like you anyway. That's extremely bitter. But I'd rather someone tell me that than smile in my face and pretend that they like me when they can't stand my guts. I'd rather someone say, I don't like you. You just rub me the wrong way. I respect that. I may not like that. It may hurt my feelings. But it's better than someone's like, oh man, I love you, feast of your life. I like that truth. The Prophet ﷺ said, speak the truth, even if it's bitter. So sometimes it's best to remain silent, but if you have to speak, speak the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, speak a straightforward word. If you do this, Allah will rectify your actions and forgive you your sins. SubhanAllah. يُصْلِحْ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُم. If you do this, what? Speak a straightforward word, Allah will do what? Allah will fix, Allah will repair your actions and forgive you your sins. That's what's called Jawab al-Shart. That's a conditional phrase right there. If fear Allah and speak a straightforward word, Allah will do what for you? He will rectify, He will fix, He will repair, He will elevate your actions and forgive you your sins. For whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger has already achieved a great achievement. وتعالى أنا سائل المجاهدين وكلما العاملين وأنظمة العربة المجاهدين ومقررين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, in conclusion, I want to direct your attention to three matters, three concerns. And we've talked about this many times, but I think that we can't talk about this enough. I want to talk to you about giving charity, number one, and I want to talk to you about seeking knowledge, and I want to talk to you about our offspring, our children. And I want to do that just by mentioning one hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and when a person dies, all of his actions, all of his deeds come to an end. They're cut off and stop, except for three. In other words, what this means, obviously when you die, you can't do anything anymore. Your soul, your ruh, is separated from your jasad, your body. So you can't do anything anymore. So the only thing that's going to remain after you die are three types of actions that will still have an impact and effect on you and I after we die. He said, Sadaqah Jariyah, a charity that flows on, a charity that continues. Meaning, while you were alive, you gave some type of charity that's still benefiting people even after you die. That type of charity will benefit you even after you die, when you're in your grave. So we should think about this. When we're encouraged to give money to certain causes, that money that we donate for that cause is more beneficial to us than it is for that cause. Because it goes on our scale of good deeds, and the more that charity still continues to benefit people, even after you died and you prayed your janazah, and people are still benefiting from that money that you give, you still get benefit in the grave. You continue to get benefit until the day of judgment. And it's good was added to your scale, added to your scale, added to your scale. And who knows, you or I, our scale of bad deeds may outweigh our good deeds. But that good charity is still adding and adding and adding up. And then one day, maybe our good deeds may outweigh our bad deeds based upon the charity that we gave. And maybe the good deeds began to outweigh the bad deeds way after our death, because the charity we gave is still benefiting people after we die. Our charity is part of our legacy. That's why it's a crime that we commit against ourselves, that we're so stingy. We're hurting ourselves more than we're hurting the people who need the money. So think about that. Sadaqah Jariyah. Al-ilmin yutafa'u bi, or a knowledge that's beneficial. Beneficial knowledge. Beneficial knowledge. You taught someone something. I just imagine, subhanAllah, every time I mention this hadith, I just think about something that we all take for granted. A brother, a sister, he comes, he takes shahada, we say, Takbir, Allahu Akbar. Abdullah, you listen, Allahu Akbar. Everybody's busy, nobody has time for anybody anymore. But you take your time out, you teach that brother al-Fatiha. You say, you know what, I gotta go to work, but I got time. Let me teach this brother. Maybe he only got one line for you. One line. He learned the rest from someone else. He learned Alhamdulillah from me. You know, every time that brother or that sister prays, you get a piece of that reward. You know that Fatiha is a rukn, it's a pillar of the prayer. His prayer is not accepted without a Fatiha. You taught him one line. And he prays for days and years, forever, how long Allah allows him to pray. You get a piece of that reward. It is not taken away from his reward. You ever have a computer and you right-click on something and you copy a file and you put it in another location, or you send it, you know, in an email, or you do whatever you do with it, Just because you copied the file, you didn't lose the file on your hard drive. You still have it. You just copied it. In the same way that he's getting rewarded and blessed for saying Al-Fatiha, a copy of that reward, that khair goes to you. You taught about Fatiha. That's one thing. And when I think about that, I get overwhelmed. Think of the reward Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is giving. All of these Muslims on earth right now. Forget about the Muslims that come and the Muslims who preceded us. All of our knowledge and beneficial information, things that will save us from the hellfire and give us Jannah, go back to him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Think about that. Beneficial knowledge. In order to give beneficial knowledge, you have to learn it. One who doesn't have a thing can't give it. How are you going to give beneficial knowledge if you don't like knowledge and you don't learn? Extremely important. For too many of us, ignorance is bliss. We're content with ignorance. You know what? I don't really know. I don't even know the bare minimum, but I'm good. I don't want to know. I remember I first took Shahada. I had been Muslim maybe 2.5 years, something like that. This is in prison. And the teachers and the Imam wanted to make sure that everyone knew the prayer. And so everyone had to stand up and perform 2 rakats of salat out loud, even the parts that we normally always say silent. And so I remember like it was yesterday. Certain people were automatically incensed. They were upset. No, I'm not praying for you. I'm praying for Allah. I ain't got to stand and pray for you. All kinds of stuff. You're not praying for us. You're just trying to make sure everybody has what they need. You know, pray. We teaching. This is class. I ain't doing it. We ain't doing what? All those brothers that said they ain't doing it. Long story short, they did it. Right? What I remember the most out of that whole exercise, the ones with the biggest mouths, the ones that always talked that they knew everything, the only parts of the salat that they knew were the parts that people would hear if you would leave. All of Tashahud, Dua Ibrahim, they ain't know none of that. These brothers have been Muslim for years, looking down on people that oh man, your brothers need to learn, and your brothers, you don't even know your prayer. We can't be like that. We can't be like that. Because why are we doing this? We're doing this for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Praying for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah knows that you didn't learn the bare minimum that He commanded you to learn, even if nobody knows. Even if nobody gets you to do your prayer in front of them as a demonstration. Allah knows. Beneficial knowledge. So that's 2 of the 3 things that I want us to focus on and begin to take more seriously. Charity that we give, the knowledge, the beneficial knowledge, and a righteous child that makes dua, supplication for you. These are the 3 things that will continue to benefit you after you die. Notice the Prophet ﷺ said a righteous child. He didn't say any child. A righteous child. And that's a topic in and of itself. Because there's a formula to raising righteous children. There's an ingredient list. You know, you want to make a cake, you can't just do it the way you want. You can try, but if you do too much or not enough, or you miss an ingredient, you're not going to have a cake. You might have brownies, or cookies, or something else, or bread. You ain't going to have cake. for a lot of us, we haven't tapped into that pattern. And even if you follow the instructions all of the way, and you follow the pattern all of the way, there's no guarantee. Because even prophets and messengers had children who weren't righteous, like Prophet Nuh, alayhi salam. But the least we can do is follow the instructions. Marry a righteous wife, a righteous husband. Stop being so superficial all of the time. Look at the person's deen and their character. And then the superficial stuff later. Of course you need to be attracted to the person. But primarily look at their deen and their character. Make sure you enter into the marriage halal. That it's a permissible situation. This is before even the child is conceived. Learn the dua that you're supposed to make when you first get married and when you have intercourse with your wife. All of these things are a protection for the baby from the shaitan. Learn those things. And then have a righteous home. What good is it having a righteous community in the masjid and we all say alhamdulillah, mashallah, alhamdulillah, shukrullah, all that all day long, and then at home we have mother effing this and that, and the children grow up in that home. The children are going to learn nifaq, hypocrisy, if this is our situation. So, marrying a righteous spouse, having a righteous and a good environment, and teaching your children, making dua for your children. You know the supplication for the child that's coming from the parent is accepted. It's mustajab. It's accepted. And there's no condition on the parent being righteous. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said 3 supplications are accepted. Dua of the traveler, the dua of the oppressed, and the dua of the parent for the child. They didn't say the righteous parent for the child. So we have to pray for our children. Even the ones who went off, we have to pray for them all of the time. But if Allah blesses us with righteous children, when they make dua for us, that dua is answered. Even if we're in the grave and we died already. Oh Allah, forgive my Ummi and my Abi. Oh Allah, please give them Jannah. If they're not righteous and they're foul, there's no guarantee Allah's going to accept them. May Allah bless us with righteous children. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا